Okay, so let's get right into it. We're looking at a truly landmark event in global finance, the creation of an absolute banking titan in Indonesia. And this isn't just a story about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's really about a nation's ambition to become a world leader in Islamic finance. First, let's just start with a number to give you a sense of scale. 353.6 trillion rupiah. Now, what does that even mean? Well, it's about 22 billion US dollars. That was the total asset value of Bank Sharia Indonesia, or BSI, at the end of 2023. And a figure like that doesn't just make it a big bank. It puts it right in Indonesia's top 10. That's a huge achievement for a Sharia-compliant institution.
But here's the thing. This giant didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It was actually forged from its competition through this massive strategic merger. So the real question is, how on earth did they pull it off? And what does this all mean for the future of finance in the world's most populous Muslim nation?
So, first up, let's really wrap our heads around the sheer scale and, the strategic importance of this new bank. We're talking about a move that completely redrew the map of Indonesia's entire banking sector. You see, this wasn't just some standard corporate shuffle. Nope, this was a deliberate national project. And the goal? It was to take these state-owned Sharia banks that were basically competing against each other and smash them together into one single powerhouse, a national champion ready to compete not just at home, but on the world stage. And the results of that? It was immediate. I mean, almost overnight, BSI became the dominant force, grabbing nearly 40% of Indonesia's entire Sharia banking market. This one move fundamentally changed the whole industry, creating a player with a scale and influence that was just totally unprecedented. All right, so to really appreciate how this merger worked, you've got to know the players involved, because each of these three banks brought something really unique to the table. Think of it like they were building a financial super team. First, you had Bank BRI Sharia, the grassroots player, with deep roots in the micro and retail sectors, reaching everyday people. Then you had Bank Sharia Mandiri, the established, trusted veteran, the one with a rock-solid reputation. And finally, you had Bank BNI Sharia, kind of the dynamic, fast-growing rookie, pushing all the boundaries with digital banking. Fusing these three together created a bank that was strong across the entire financial spectrum. Okay, but what actually makes this kind of banking Islamic? Because it's way more than just a label. It's a fundamentally different way of looking at finance, and it's all rooted in a core set of principles. The big, crucial difference here is the absolute prohibition of what's called riba, which basically means interest. So instead of a simple lender-borrower relationship, Islamic finance is all built on things like partnership, trade, and leasing. The whole philosophy is about sharing risk and reward by financing real, tangible economic activity. Let's make this super simple. Say you want to buy a house. Instead of giving you a loan and charging you interest, a Sharia bank might use a murabaha contract. So the bank literally buys the house you want, and then it sells it to you at a slightly higher pre-agreed price. You pay that back in installments. The key is you know the full cost right from the start. No crazy fluctuating interest rates. Now, this one is really cool. This is true partnership finance. With a musharaka contract, if you want to start a business, the bank might actually contribute capital right alongside you. You both become partners. If the business does well, you both share the profits. But if it struggles, you share those losses too. The bank's success is directly tied to yours. You can think of this one as basically a lease-to-own model. It's really common for things like cars or heavy equipment. The bank buys the asset, leases it to you for a while, and then at the end of the lease, the ownership can be transferred right over to you. It's just another way to get a major purchase financed without a traditional interest-bearing loan. So who makes sure all these rules are actually being followed? Well, there's a really powerful independent body called the Sharia Supervisory Board. And this board is not just for show, it is the ultimate authority. Its members are experts in Islamic law, and they review every single product, every transaction. Basically, they're the ethical gatekeepers of the bank. So all of this leads us to this pivotal moment in 2020 when the plan to build the super team was officially put into motion. And let me tell you, the forging of this new giant was a really rapid and decisive process. And they moved fast. The timeline was incredibly ambitious. In October 2020, the three banks signed the deal. Just 4 months later, 4 months, in February 2021, Bank Sharia Indonesia was officially launched. By 2023, it had already cemented its place as a top-tier national bank, a truly whirlwind consolidation. And the results of this consolidation? I mean, wow. The growth was explosive. In just a couple of years, total assets and financing both shot up by over 50%. But the number that really jumps out is the net profit. It nearly quadrupled. This just proves that the merger created something way more powerful than just the sum of its parts. So, with all this new scale and power, the big question is, what's next? For BSI, the merger wasn't the finish line. It was really just the starting point for a much, much bigger ambition. And why does this all matter? Well, it's because BSI isn't just focused on being big for the sake of being big. It's using that size to drive a very specific strategy. The plan is kind of twofold. First, completely solidify its dominance at home, and second, start expanding its footprint internationally. Their strategy is pretty clear, and it really comes down to three core pillars. The first is just healthy, sustainable growth. Makes sense. The second, and this is key, is to become the financial backbone of the entire Islamic ecosystem, everything from Hajj pilgrimage funds to financing the halal industry. And the third pillar is this relentless push into digitalization, making everything faster and easier for everyone. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote comes straight from their 2023 annual report, and it perfectly captures their vision. It's not just about offering bank accounts. It's about building these integrated digital platforms and solutions that serve every single financial need within the Islamic community. It's about creating a whole self-reinforcing ecosystem with BSI right at the center. Look, at the end of the day, the creation of BSI was an absolute game changer. It's a bold experiment in creating a global contender through sheer consolidation. Its new scale gives it the power to innovate in ways those smaller banks just couldn't dream of. So the real question now is whether BSI can use this power to do more than just dominate its home market. Can it actually set a new global standard for what a modern Islamic bank can truly be?